All right, it is currently 2 weeks after the Ironman race. Obviously, it's not day after because my head is shaved. I did that yesterday for some reason. I don't really know why. Yeah, it's like 2 weeks after the Ironman race. I'm just now getting around to making the video. It's just been a super busy couple weeks, and I'm bad about posting on YouTube. So I'm gonna try and be more consistent, post Monday through Friday, and then take the weekends off just to kind of make videos and stuff. Oh, I got a pimple on my nose. All right, we're gonna have to face this way the whole time. Okay, what was I saying? So I'm just gonna run through the race in its entirety, and then I'll go back and talk about mistakes that were made, things I'll do differently next time, things like that. So we dropped everything off at the transition point, jumped on a bus. It took us to the start of the swim. They started letting people in the water about 7 o'clock. We ended up further back in line because, you know, they have signs in line that say, if you think you're gonna swim in 30 minutes, you know, stand here. If it's gonna be 35 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. We were in about the 45-minute mark is where we stood in line. So we didn't actually get in the water until like 8:15. So it was almost an hour later than when the race actually started, we got in the water. Did the swim, I finished the swim in 38 minutes. Jumped out of the swim, took 5 minutes at my transition, not too long. But that was like the toughest one, I think, just because you had to dry off and, you know, get socks and shoes and helmet and bike and all that stuff. So we went straight from there, jumped on the bike. Both my sister and dad got out of the water just a little bit before me. So I saw them at the transition point. So they were just a minute or two in front of me. I start the bike. I caught it to my sister about a mile in. And then a mile later, you know, I passed her, waved to her as I went by, whatever. A mile later, both of my tires popped. So 2 miles into the 56-mile bike ride, I had double flats. It was fucking brutal. And it's kind of funny because I was riding with a bunch of other people and I heard a tss, you know what I mean? And so in my head, I'm like, oh shit, like someone just popped a tire, that sucks. And then my bike goes, gudunk, and I was like, fuck, it's me. So I popped both my tires. I pulled over on the side of the road for a second, didn't really know what to do. I saw my sister go by, waved to her again as she went by. And then not knowing what to do, I just jumped back on my bike and rode it for another 2 or 3 miles with 2 flats, which was brutally slow. It was like 8 miles an hour, I think is what I was doing. It was fucking awful. So finally, after a few miles of doing that, I saw a cop on the side of the road who was like working the race, you know, stopped, talked to him. He called somebody. 15 minutes later, somebody came by, changed my tires, and I was good to go. For the rest of the 55 miles or whatever I had left, or I'm sorry, 50 miles-ish that I had left, I pushed extremely hard on that bike. And that's because I knew I had just lost like 30, 40 minutes because of 2 flats. So I was just pushing as hard as I could, trying to catch up to my sister, my dad, all this other stuff. I ended up catching my sister about mile 28, so about halfway through I caught my sister, and then continued on from there. Never saw my dad. I was never able to catch up to him. So, you know, after I caught my sister, about, you know, just kept pushing real hard. About mile 46-ish, so with about 10 miles left on the bike, my quads started cramping up real fucking bad. This has never happened to me before, never had this issue before. I think it's simply because I pushed so much harder than what I'm used to doing. My legs just didn't know what to do. So my legs started cramping up, didn't really think anything of it, just continued on. At the final transition, I pulled up, dropped off my bike, changed into running clothes because I didn't want to be in that heavy wet or that, you know, thick tri-suit the entire time. It's black, it was hot, it was sunny. I didn't want anything to do with it. So changed into running clothes and got to going on the run. My legs immediately started cramping up once again. I didn't even make it a full mile. And my legs, it's like cramps I have never felt before in my entire life. Like they were fucking brutal. To the point where it would hit and my leg would straighten out real bad. And I couldn't physically bend my leg. Like my quad would cramp up and straighten out my leg. And it was not going fucking anywhere, dude. Like it was brutally bad. So I spent the first kind of 3 miles super light, walking half the time, kind of slightly jogging the other half. After 3 miles, I saw my brother and my girlfriend, and I asked them how far ahead is my dad, and they say he's just like 10 minutes ahead of you. Like he's right there, you can go catch him. And so I heard that and I was like, oh shit, okay, let's push a little bit. Started pushing on the run. My legs were cramping up, but I just went pushed through it for as long as I could, which lasted about 2 miles. And then at mile 5, there was a water station. I stopped at the water station. I was jogging. I stopped to a walk to grab a water at the water station. And as soon as I went to a walk, both legs cramped up. Like both of them straightened out, couldn't bend them. I fucking, it was the saddest thing you've ever seen in your life. I'm standing there on the track with both legs straight, like unable to move. And I slowly just kind of tipped over onto my hands. And so then I'm like standing there like some fucked up triangle, you know? And I didn't know what to do and it was hurting like a motherfucker. So I just like tipped over and I tipped over, rolled over to my ass and sat there and started pounding on my legs, trying to get them to stop cramping up. I don't know what to do for cramps, you know what I mean? It never happens to me. So I just started hitting my legs real hard. That didn't work. That's a bad idea, actually. It actually hurt quite a bit. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you have cramps. And some of the guys at the water station saw me and that I couldn't move my legs. So they came over and like one of them got behind my arms and picked me up and the other one grabbed my legs and they just like picked me up and moved me off the racetrack. And yeah, and they sat me down, they got me water, got me Gatorade, some bananas, a gel, you know, things like that. Just helped me get my cramps kind of under control, rubbed out my legs a little bit, and sat there for 5-6 minutes, something like that. And once I had enough, you know, once I kind of got the cramps under control, I just got back up and I was on my way. But the cramps never left. I was never able to break. I think my fastest mile was at 10:45. It was the slowest half marathon I've ever run in my entire life. It was, I think I did it in 2 hours and 45 minutes. Never in my life have I run a half marathon that slow. But pushing on the bike so hard killed me. So that's where that came in. I ended up finishing the marathon in about 7 hours and 10 minutes, an hour slower than I had planned on being. So it was a rough showing for sure. But like I said, there was a lot of unforeseen things that happened, things that weren't really in my control and things that were in my control that I just did wrong. So, you know, it was a completely different race that I had planned on running. You know what I mean? I didn't plan on the 2 flat tires. I didn't plan on the cramps. I didn't plan on these things. And that kind of came and bit me in the ass. So that being said, let's talk about what I did wrong. First of all, at the beginning of the race, we got in line at about like the 45-minute mark. You know, like the sign that said, if you think you'll do the swim in 45 minutes, stand here. That's where we stood, was 45 minutes. Like I said, I ended up finishing the swim in 38. My dad was like 33 and my sister was like 34, 35, something like that. So we should have been standing up with the half-hour people. What I'll be doing next time is I will be standing in line ahead of where I think I'll actually be. So next time I'll plan on 38 minutes, but I'll stand in line at the 30-minute mark. And that's simply so that I'm not getting in the water at 8 o'clock. I want to be in the water by 7:20, 7:30 at the latest, right? Because we were in the water at 8 o'clock, all of a sudden that set us back an hour. We were running the half marathon at 3 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was that much hotter, that much more sun. You know, it was just made the entire race an hour later in the day, which made it an hour hotter in the day, right? So next time I'll be standing way up front with everybody else that's going to swim in like half an hour. And if I get past a little bit, that's okay. I'm just going to be up there with those guys and get in the water a lot sooner. Second of all, the bike. Why my tires popped, I do not know. Next time, avoid potholes. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? That's what I need to do next time, I guess. So that just sucked. I'm also not going to push as hard on the bike next time. I think that's the main reason for my cramping. The main reason that the run sucked so bad was because I pushed so hard on the bike that I just had no energy left in the tank. Like I said, my legs were done with 10 miles left in the bike. So the biggest thing is not going so hard on the bike and leaving something in the tank for the run. If it was a 55 or 56 mile bike race, I would have had the perfect pace. You know what I mean? I would have finished that bike race with nothing left in the tank. Problem was I had a half marathon left after that fucking bike race. So that was a poor decision. So that's number one. I guess number two. Number one, get in line a lot closer to the starting line. Number two, take it easier on the bike. Number three, bring salt packets and fucking mustard packets and pickle juice to help from cramping. Because once I started cramping, there was nothing on God's green earth that could get me to stop cramping. It was awful. So next time I will be taking salt packets. I'll be taking heavy electrolyte stuff. I drank a ton of electrolytes the day before and a ton that morning, and it wasn't enough. You need to have salt packets during the bike. I was talking to someone, just have salt in a little vial, and whenever you need some, just take it out, shake it, lick your finger, and you're on your way. And I think if I had done that, it would have helped with the cramps at least a little bit. I still probably would have cramped up because I went so hard on the bike, so, you know, kind of give and take. But that will be the final thing that I will do differently next time is salt packets. And yeah, if I bring salt packets, next time I won't have to be carried off of the fucking race on mile 5 of the goddamn run. It was actually kind of funny though, because like me and my dad have been watching a lot of David Goggins. And so our whole mindset was, you know, throughout the entire training, the whole mindset was like, be a bad motherfucker. You know, like half joking, but also half serious, right? And so like the mindset day of the race was be a bad motherfucker. And it was like me, my dad, my sister, let's be bad motherfuckers today. Mile 5 of the race, I'm getting carried off. Like they're taking me away. And in my head, as I'm getting carried off, it's like, it's okay. You're still a bad motherfucker. Just power through it as they're carrying me off. My head was so fucked up, man. So yeah, I mean, as you can see in these videos and pictures, I was hurting like a motherfucker. Here's me at the end right here. Literally just, I mean, you can see I'm barely even bending my legs. And this is how I ran the last 8 miles of this half marathon. It was brutal, just absolutely grueling. But, you know, there's no way I was gonna stop running. I mean, gotta finish. Once you're 8 miles from the finish line in a 70 miles race, you're gonna finish the race. You know what I mean? It's like you're right there. You gotta see it home. But yeah, so that was some of the most pain I've been in a long time. was me running right there. So that's all we really got. So that's, in conclusion, that's the Ironman right there. A bunch of pictures of me, my dad, my sister, all of us on the finish line, and basically feeling good. Grabbed a beer afterwards, just, you know, felt incredible. So that's all we got for you. Directly after the race, I told myself I wouldn't do another one because it hurt so bad, but literally 24 hours later, I was like, yeah, I have to do one more. So we will be signing up for another one, not anytime soon, but eventually I will do another one, and this one will be much faster and much more prepared. So we did get better that day though. We definitely got better that day. Better today than I was yesterday, better tomorrow than I am today. Good shit, team.